Today, we're reacting to Black Fatigue. Black people are officially canceling ghetto culture. Damn. Niggas ain't fucking with the hood no more, huh? So, hey, here's what it is. I'm gonna give y'all my opinion in this video, but this was also a supporter submission. So, if you want to send me some videos for this channel, my other channel, any one of my channels, go ahead and send them to my IG, Astral, Dior, man. Let's do it.
The bonnet crew walk in. Loud, obnoxious, the kids are everywhere.
Black fatigue. This video might make you uncomfortable, but it needs to be made.
Black fatigue is real. I think society as a whole is there.
See, you got
Black fatigue. Man, the internet, bro, is a funny place, boy. I love the internet because you can give your opinion. You can say whatever the fuck you want. You can do, you know what I'm saying? You can move however you want to move. And then you go out into the real world and, you know what I'm saying? Nothing really changes. You just kind of just continue your walk. You know what I'm saying? But you'll get on these, you'll have these groups or these hashtag Black Fatigue online, and you can be a part of that, and y'all can be mad everybody together, but when we walk outside, your day-to-day is normal and regular. Ain't that funny?
Black people, and then you got niggas. All right, it's a big difference. And
it is a big difference. My mom put me on game early on. She was breaking the shit down for me. You know what I'm saying?
Most black people, we know the difference. It ain't even a conversation we have all had. It ain't like a meeting that we came together and had together.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, all right, so it's the black folk and it's the niggas. We need to figure out how to get them niggas. All right, we need to get them up out of here. We ain't even had that conversation. We just know it when we see it, because some of us are reformed niggas.
Right.
See, black folks live a common
right
life, you know, job, kids, dog, you know. We abide by the rules. But then you had the niggas, and that's where you get a lot of your ignorance from. The loudmouths, people that always want to play victim but don't want to fix their own circumstance. Black people are now getting online and they're talking about black fatigue because they are tired of the niggas.
Black fatigue is a thing. Newsflash. White people don't want to live around ratchet black people. And black people don't want to live around ratchet black people.
Right.
I mean, it's nothing like going to the Walmart on a Sunday morning and then you see the bonnet crew walk in. Loud, obnoxious, the kids are everywhere.
And living in Houston, right, in the area that I live in, it's like there'll be times where you really, and it's unfortunate, you know what I'm saying, but it is the reality. But there's times where I might pull up somewhere. You know what I'm saying? It's me and my girl, my son. And if I might have been, I was lacking the other day. Me and my girl got out of the car. And I was like, no, I need to bring this. Put my file on my hip right now. Like, I'll leave it in the whip. You feel me? If anything, I'll just come back if I feel. Man, I got out there. I was like, damn. Bro. I'm a little uncomfortable right now. I would feel a lot more comfortable if I had my shit on. Like, and that's an uncomfortable, that's not okay to feel, bro. That's not okay to feel that I'm in a, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, I could really, it's risky business. You feel what I'm saying? And you can always spot the signs, you know?
In every aisle, unattended, and that's anywhere you go. No matter what. They're highly emotional, highly sensitive. You can't say nothing. You can't even smile and hold the door for them because they'll look at you like you're crazy. And always the victim of something. Either you stepped on their shoe, you looked at them wrong, you told them good morning. They're never happy, they're never satisfied. And you wonder why normal, good black people move out of the hood as soon as they start getting successful. I was one of those black people that said, man, if I made some money, I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna buy up this, buy up that. I'm gonna support the community. As soon as I got my money, I got the fuck up out of there because they don't know how to appreciate good shit. And
that right there, that's true. You start doing some nice shit. You start building some nice shit up. It's like that young teen, like young college teens. You get you a new apartment. Remember, a new apartment building got built in my college town when I was in college. Brand new, bruh. They fucked that hoe up in literally a month. And that's how niggas be doing shit. They fucked that hoe up, boy. Leaving dog shit and some more shit. You be like, damn.
My suburban kids don't need to be dealing with that bullshit.
Oh,
crab in a barrel mentality.
Oh, yeah. And then that's another thing. My son, nah, hell nah. He ain't gonna. I'm like on some shit. My son gonna be in private school. Like, I'm about to set him up. You feel me? Real, what's it, Nepo baby. Yeah, that's how I'm trying to get my nigga popping. And nah, go ahead.
Never take accountability for nothing. So yeah, black fatigue is a thing. And I'll tell you, a lot of people are fucking tired. They're tired.
My mama, one of them.
These kind of people on a daily basis. I mean, I get anxiety when I walk inside of a mall nowadays. I mean, because you got these YNs running around and they don't respect nothing. So I don't care what anybody says. White America is tired of you, and we are too.
All right, so before you get offended or call him my Uncle Tom or something like that, ask yourself, like, why do black people get some money and their first plan is to get away from black people? Like, why is that? Like, have you ever sat around and asked yourself, like, why is that? And because I personally always think about that, like, dang, it's like our first goal as black people is to go somewhere there's less black people, but then we get mad when other people don't really want to be around a whole bunch of black people. Now, this may be just my accountability trying to like figure it out in my head, because you know you're never offended when you ask yourself a question. It only becomes offensive when you put it on the internet and other people give their opinions on it. But you're allowed to question things yourself, you know that, right? You don't have to run with the narratives that everybody else is thinking. Crabs in a bucket mentality. I think the craziest thing about the hood, and the reason why I keep saying the hood, is because I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and here in Atlanta it's a lot of black excellence. Like, I'm around
same as here in Houston.
So many great black people like that are doing great things with their lives. My neighborhood is full of black people. I mean, men that work honest jobs. It's not a ratchet neighborhood. So I know that this is not an all black people thing. Like, all black people are not ghetto. All black people are not loud. But when I leave Atlanta and I'm just traveling through a city, I don't see any of my people until I go to the hood. And when I say the hood, I mean the low income areas. So the craziest part about the low income areas, they usually have the lowest rents in the city. And I've always thought about this. Just because the rents are low or there's low income in the area does not mean this has to be a dangerous neighborhood. It can actually be cheap luxury if the people that are in the neighborhoods treated it as such. The only way to do that is for the people in the hood to hold each other accountable for what we're not doing around here. Just because it's cheap around here doesn't mean we have to follow a certain level of culture or character just because this is the cheap side of town. Somebody wants to point the finger at the white man, and by all means, I understand we definitely have been dealt a different hand. But at what point in time do we hold each other accountable? Because why is there some people that make it out of the hood, that do something great with themselves, but then there's other people that are in the hood that is still pointing the finger saying, yeah, but they, but them. The reason why I'm going through this is because somebody else has control over my circumstance. But somebody in your same circumstance was able to make it out of it. So while we can argue and say, yes, there are system issues, but what needs to be fixed are the cultural issues as well. And that starts with accountability.
They're calling it black fatigue, but what you really mean is I'm tired of loving wounded black people. You can just say that part with your chest. That's what you wanted to say. You're not tired because we're toxic. You're tired because your love had conditions. Yours. You didn't come to heal, you came to curate. You came to save a version of black society that was already fixed and no one praised you for it. And when we didn't perform your healing fantasy, you called it draining. This archetype always shows up during collapse.
This is like, I personally, I'm on both sides here, right? Where I like being this, and this is why I live in, you know, the areas that I want to live. Like, I like being around black people. You know what I'm saying? I like being around, you know what I'm saying, niggas, and you feel me? Like, I like that. You know, I just also know how niggas can be, right? So I don't just sit up here and trust just nobody, but I know if I'm in this area, okay, I need to make sure I got my shit just in the event that anything can happen, because niggas start acting a certain way. But I also like to be around niggas as well. You feel me? Like, I'm not the people that say, like, you know how people will be like, they'll start bashing black business, right? They don't fuck with, and because they be moving a certain way, they do certain things a certain way, which I agree. Black business have some things that need a fix. But I also think about it from the perspective of, you know, and this gets debunked by my girl, my mom all the time and shit like that. But I genuinely feel like black business, you know, white business, all types of different business, like, that's not black business, has been in business for a long time, has done shit for centuries and ages and decades to come. You feel me? They have a lot of you know, time in the game. When you see black business is somewhat of a new concept, you feel me? I like to give niggas the benefit of the doubt. We need more time to perfect. You know what I'm saying? That's how I see it. So I be giving black people and niggas the benefit of the doubt. And I try to, you know, see the best in those certain situations, because, you know, them niggas, them people that be on some wild shit also be having, you know, good mindsets, good things to say. They be trying to get out of certain situations and figure certain things out. I don't see them as just wild animals that's like, get the fuck out. I gotta go wait for these fucking wild animals. But I know how to, but guess what? I do know how to tread lightly when a wild animal is around. You know, I still, you know, I like to be around. Now, I'm not saying calling niggas wild animals, but, you know, when they act wild, I know how to operate. Or if a wild, I know not to get behind a lion and jump at him and scare him. Like, I know how to move. You feel me? If I'm in an area where I know, okay, niggas be tripping, I'm gonna make sure that I'm on point a certain way. I can lessen my guard when I'm over in these areas. Some people do not like the fact that they have to do that. You feel me? That's what it is. I like what Ty Boogie said. You got to change. It's a cultural thing where you got to change the culture within the shit. That'd be great if possible. You feel me? Low income areas don't mean you got to fuck the land up. I agree with that too. But again, I've expressed to y'all, I'm not the nigga that's going to be the one to change or try and push the change or nothing like that. I don't know how the shit gonna change. That's a great answer, black and white, but how does that actually get pushed? Like, how do you actually do that? See what I'm saying? We have all these opinions to say shit, but how do we actually do these things? You feel what I'm saying? This ain't no shot at telling a nigga that what he's saying is wrong or nothing. You feel me? But that's just how I be thinking.
The one that confuses proximity with pain and with proof that they're better than it. Right? They have proof that they're better than it. That's how they see it, right? But you have to understand that you're not above the wound just because you narrate it from a distance. You're just protecting your image in the mirror while the rest of us are still trying to stitch it back together. You didn't transcend us. You abandoned us. Real black love doesn't tap out when it gets loud. It doesn't leave when the wounds resurface. It metabolizes. It listens longer. It doesn't call the hood low vibrational just because it got a better apartment. Love doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. And some of y'all don't have love for us, and that's cool. That's what I'm trying to get it at. It's cool, but I need you to know that the left is something you can get over. You could, right? Like, and if you really tired, rest, right? If you're actually tired, but don't call that healing. That's retreat, because this ain't fatigue. It's spiritual gentrification we're watching, and these are spiritually gentrified people. You're not leaving because you're broken. You're leaving because our brokenness didn't fit your aesthetic anymore. And I need you to hear me clearly. We are not your inconvenience. Okay, we're not. We are your mirror, and if you truly heal, you'll still be here with us, not above us, right? So I get it, right? This is one thing I think is absolutely true. You do not have to like every black space, but don't ever use fatigue as an excuse to stop loving the ones who never had that option to leave. Just stupid shit.
So,
I like some of that he said. One thing I would say too is I think about it like the people that I know that grew up in the most treacherous. Now we're not talking about regular hood conditions like hood conditions. I'm talking about the treacherous, the trench, the fucked up. I be feeling like it's split. Half of them be like, yeah, hell no, I'm straight. I'm not. That shit's so scarring and like so PTSD to that they like I'm nah. And some of them stay because that's just what they so used to. Somebody, for example, my mom grew up in the conditions, CB. I'm like, damn, you know. And my mom, she went full whitewashed on them. Not necessarily like when she talking on when I say that she don't fuck with none of that. She grew up so that shit so fucked up. She was like, nah, I'm out of there. Manager, branch manager shit. That's how she raised us up when she was in the position that she was in. Branch manager shit, college degree shit, move out, get all types of shit together. Sent me off while to finish college. When I was with my grandma, she said, I got to get this shit done, popping. Right now, she living out in bumblefuck Texas. You feel me? How many ever minutes from Dallas, in a tight knit community, well, a bunch of white people with a husband and shit. Both my little brothers is, hey, I say, how are you doing? Oh, like every time I see him, we grew up different. So I love to see that for my mama not fucking with it. But then I got somebody else who also grew up in a treacherous situation, who's like, he's more nigga, but he's just like, yeah, nah, I'm straight off of that. I ain't moving. I'm not trying to be my mentor. I'm off of that. You know what I'm saying? But he grew up treacherous shit. So I be seeing like how I can understand how they not fucking with that. You know what I'm saying? Like they not trying to see none of that or being around none of that.
So here's the thing about what that brother just said. See, the word fatigue is more so saying I'm tired. It's not saying I don't love you anymore. It's kind of like having two kids. One kid is always bringing home good grades. The other kid is always getting phone calls called home from the teacher. You're fatigued character of that second kid. I want you to get your act together. And it's not about you guys being in the hood. It's not about people being in the hood. I still have family in the hood. And so it's not about I'm looking down upon those that are in the hood. No, I'm looking down upon the people that have bad character that is still in the hood. Or the people that have bad character that's just in culture. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I moved to Georgia back in 2011, 2010, and I wasn't living in the hood. But I was around more black people than I was when I was in New York. And I realized it's a cultural thing. So it's not so much about the placement of the people, it's fixing the understanding of what being black is. For too many people, they see being black as what they see in the music videos. They follow their favorite rapper instead of looking up to their black mayor or their black lawyers in the neighborhood. Because what is publicized is our rappers, our crime. And then we rap and talk about the crime. Now somebody will say, yeah, but you know, the white man is the one that's promoting that music. Yeah, but we're the ones that's listening to that music. We don't live in a day and time where we are forced to think a certain type of way. We can wake up and say, wait a minute, I'm not going to keep playing the same game that has been getting played on me. At any moment, we can wake up and say that. But that takes a level of accountability for us to look at our fellow man and say, yo, we're not doing that over here. We're not rapping about stuff like that. Anytime I listen to a song and it's talking about killing niggas and stuff like that, I'm like, why are we talking about hurting each other? I don't get that. Like, I see black people, I see that as we playing on the same team. So why are we sitting here talking about how we're going to steal the basketball from our teammate? Why are we talking about how we're going to tackle our teammate? Why are we sitting here talking about how we want to take out our teammate? Not saying we should try to do that to anybody else, but why? If you're gonna do it, why are you talking about doing it to people that look just like you? When I see people protesting about police brutality, and I completely get it, a lot of these situations are sad, but you know what situations are a lot sadder? The situations that I see these black brothers committing against other black brothers. Because believe it or not, that happens a lot more than police brutality, if we're gonna be honest. But as long as that crime is put on a beat, it's cool. We'll turn the blind eye to it. That's the accountability that I think black
But that's funny that he said that, because let's say like some cops started rapping, talking about how they just took out some niggas that was driving 20 miles per hour over the speed limit. Niggas gonna be like, what the fuck? But then, you know, and I guess like, I'm trying to think how I want to say this. Let me get my mind together. Hopefully I don't forget.
People are tired of. It's not that we're looking down on our fellow man. It's just that we're saying, get up. Stop saying that talking proper is talking white. To say talking proper is to talk white is to say that to talk black is to not talk right. Like anytime somebody enhances their vernacular, now they're trying to talk white. Now they're whitewashed. But nobody else is saying that but us. To ourselves, holding us back from the growth that our culture really needs. But instead, we rather be offended.
Black fatigue. This video might make you uncomfortable, but it needs to be made. There's a growing sentiment, most recently, of individuals who are proclaiming they do have black fatigue. And you don't have to be a non-black person to have black fatigue. What does that phrase actually mean? Essentially, black fatigue is a growing weariness of the actions of the quote-unquote black community. But it goes deeper than that, because we are in 2025 now, and we are being judged based on the content of our character and not the color of our skin. But the interesting part is, the lie that's been sold to the black community in particular is that the color of our skin dictates the content of our character. That's why in the black community, sometimes you'll hear people say, oh, you are acting.
I also don't feel like this is a big deal. Like black fatigue, like it's okay. If you're tired, like that's fine. I don't think it's that big of a deal also. Cause what, nigga, there's white fatigue. There's all types of different racial fatigue. You know what I'm saying? I think the biggest ones would probably be black and white, but nigga, there's so many fatigue. You can be tired of a motherfucker if you feel tired of a motherfucker. I don't feel like it's just this big of a deal for niggas to get on the internet and do this whole, let me put a camera up and talk about this shit. But you feel me? But again, the internet is full of opinions, and it's a safe place for you to have your opinion. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, bro, niggas black fatigue, there's white fatigue, goddamn Hispanic fatigue. Everybody tired of everybody. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, there's a sect of a niggas group that people don't fuck with. You know what I'm saying?
White when they're talking to someone like myself who doesn't act the way most people would expect a conventional black person to act. In their minds, there is a correct way to act black. And the people in your ethnic group who fulfill those very negative stereotypes, those are the ones who are going to essentially drag down the collective whole. And that's why there's individuals who are black who do and can have black fatigue, because they see how damaging it is to see the worst of us attract all this negative attention that then unfortunately gets ascribed to the entire race all too often. But what's unfortunate is here in 2025, now we have to contend with the fact that there's people who are so sick and tired of seeing those negative aspects.
And also, when a thought process like that, that's your fault. If you just look at some group of people and you see them niggas wilding out, and then you just associate that right there with the rest of the niggas that you see every single time, hey, so be it, my nigga. Hey, that shows your character. I don't look at fucking this hillbilly redneck motherfucker walking down the street talking crazy with a Klan's fucking flag or a Southern flag, come down the street, ride by, and then see the next white person in the mall that's chilling, and it's like, hi, how you doing? I don't look at that motherfucker and be like, man, look at this nigga, bro. Look at this motherfucker right here, bro. That's exactly what I'm talking. I don't do that. So if white people are tired, shit, nigga, let them be tired, goddamn. Shit.
Those negative individuals in the black community attracting all this attention, that's what is spurring this black fatigue.
Here's where black people really lose me, all right? Because we use our voice when it's done to us by other races, but we're extremely quiet. Actually, we're not quiet, because a lot of the black on black deaths are in songs. They're glorified. Like, it's become so common that...
I know Ty Boogie be listening to some, I'm gonna get on your ass, Ty Boogie. I know Ty Boogie be listening to that real. With lyrical, spiritual, miracle, lyrical. I know my nigga Ty Boogie listening to that. As soon as he cut this shit off, he cut on Wu-Tang's real fast. You know what I'm saying?
Just yesterday, I'm scrolling on Instagram or I'm scrolling on Twitter, and I see some black rapper from whatever state just got killed by another black kid. And you know what I did? I looked at it and I kept scrolling. You know why? Because it's so common. But as soon as that other person with the gun becomes a police officer or somebody of another race, that's where we draw the line.
Yeah, niggas wake up quick. That's crazy. Facts. Niggas wake up real quick. This situation in Frisco with the white boy and the black kid, that shit wouldn't have been nothing if it was two niggas. Woo! But it's a black kid and a white kid. Now it's turned the fuck up. Or that white lady that just called that one little black boy, that little 5-year-old, the hard R. You know what I'm saying? If that was a black woman, this little boy, that shit wouldn't have been nothing. They probably just would have whooped their ass and walked off.
Them should happen, but we need to have the same energy when it's happening amongst our people as well. But let's get off of death real quick. Even when we talk about class, one thing I had to learn as I grew up is that it's okay to feel emotions. Emotions are actually normal. So when you're in a situation and you feel angry, that's a normal feeling. When you're in a situation you feel sad, that is a normal feeling. When you feel happy, that is a normal feeling to being a human being. But how you go about your feelings, How you go about your emotions says a lot about your maturity. And for a lot of people, especially in the black culture, we lead with emotions instead of logic, instead of vocabulary. You know, when you at work and you really want to go off on somebody, so you got to kind of tailor your email in a way that's like nasty, nice, but you got to really use your words. So now you're asking other people like, yo, how does this sound? People don't do that in real life, but they should. But instead, we have a lot of black people that rather go to the extent of being loud, being outright, making a scene, killing all credibility on whether or not you was even right to begin with. Again, this is a cultural thing that we need to change. Now, somebody may be saying, yeah, but other cultures do this too. We don't have to do what other cultures are doing. You do not.
That's funny, because I was thinking, I was so like, other cultures do that, but I wasn't going to use the argument. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's not that valid of an argument just because other cultures do that, but he's clearing that up right now.
Become better by comparing yourself to worse. Instead, you grow from accountability. Because remember this, what we don't hold accountable, the kids will repeat and ignorance will grow.
The woman who called a 5-year-old a racial slur. My first impression after watching the video, a little bit of white trash. I have to be honest, the kid was 5. I have worked with 5-year-olds for the last 15 years. Absolutely everything they do is out of pocket. They're like little unhinged drunk people. Nothing they do makes sense. A 5-year-old is capable of rifling through somebody's bag and taking things that don't belong to them. Ask any kindergarten teacher. But I realize why so many people are wanting to defend this. Because Black fatigue is real. I think society as a whole is there. We are just so unbelievably fed up with the ghetto ratchet behavior, entitlement, the victimhood, that they want to praise this woman. But what she did is not praiseworthy. But also on the same hand, please remember that every day that us white people get on this app, we get called racial slurs every single day. So if you don't want to be called a racial slur, you also have to stop calling people racial slurs. You can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. But for the love of God, please leave the children out of it. Adults are stupid, they're gonna do stupid things. But you're a different level of stupid when you bring kids into it. Thanks for coming to my TED.
So basically what this woman is saying is that two things could be true at the same time. And I said this the other day when this whole situation first broke out, and then we had the panel on Monday night, where I basically said that white people are starting to get fed up, and that is the whole premise behind Black fatigue, is that nobody wants you to continue to play victim for the rest of your life. They tired of being held accountable for things that their ancestors did. They tired of you blaming all of your failures and the things that you weren't able to accomplish on white people. They're tired of you sitting there saying that you're a victim every single day, regardless of what your circumstance is, regardless of what you've been given, regardless of all of the affirmative action, regardless of the fact that you're saying that you're the most educated, but really you're the most enrolled. They tired of you blaming your debt on the system. They tired of you saying that white men are the problem. They tired of you asking for programs, and they're tired of being held accountable for the decisions that you're making every single day.
She'll be watching her back for the rest of her life. Yeah, because that's not thuggery, hydrattery, animalistic. This is why people have Black fatigue. When you act like this, it's not normal behavior. People do stupid stuff. People say stupid stuff. That's life. It's not normal to threaten to unalive people because you don't like what they're doing. But here we are. People are getting sick and tired of opening up TikTok and seeing brawls on cruise ships, brawls in the airport, like literally the most ghetto behavior. We're tired. We're tired of it. But then whining and complaining and acting like it's not your fault that you act that way. Yeah.
And so that comment proved her right. And for whatever reason, y'all think that the white people don't have eyes, that people that are not black don't have eyes, and they can't see how ghetto a lot of this is.
It do be embarrassing when you like out in public and then, you know, your people start spazzing and then everybody like, yo, why y'all gotta do this? Don't do this, man. You feel me? We don't gotta do this. But again, like, I feel like some of this stuff be asking us, like some of these things are asking for a perfect world. You know, now we can stop shit and we can slow certain things down, but I feel like some of these things are asking for a perfect world, and that'll never be. You know what I'm saying? From the beginning of time, niggas been getting slaughtered and murdered for wildest shit for the beginning of time, before niggas was even in the play or the question. Niggas was out here stabbing and shooting about everything. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I get it. Motherfuckers might be tired, but this is like human culture. death, blood shed. The way the freedom to what everybody's doing now today is bloodshed. So I'm not saying now this is what I'm talking. When I say that to say, I'm not trying to say that killing is just, killing is just all unnatural. But like, I feel like this is like, I feel like we're asking for a perfect world right now. And just as, you know, niggas aren't perfect, no other culture is perfect. Like Chai Boogie said, that don't mean we just gotta follow them because of that. But how does this end? How does this stop? This is a conversation. This is only an internet conversation. How does this stop? How do we stop this? How do we all get together and get with each other? Hey guys, so we shouldn't do this anymore. How do we stop this? This is life, bro. This is how it is. How I like to look at all this shit is, how do you personally, as an individual, move throughout your day? I've never been the type of person to rely on government assistance or on these things. I've never waited on a motherfucker to save me in no type of way. I've never been the type of I've tried to play the victim on certain things, and like every other human being, you feel me? But how do you as an individual move day to day? Because these things are going to continue happening. How do you maneuver in throughout each day? We can have opinions, again, like I said, it is what it is. But like, we're asking for a perfect world that we'll never have. One group will stop killing, another group will start killing. One group will stop killing, maybe where everybody's not killing at the moment. Everybody's killing has slowed down a little bit. But what do we do? That's my question.
And then I have to pay for it because I got to go outside and then account for what you did.
I'm more so concerned.
How? Why? What is going on throughout the day for you when you step outside because some niggas was woofing in the grocery store? This white lady saw some niggas woofing in the grocery store and she frowned at him like, oh, what the fuck? Now you step outside and that same white lady sees you walk out your door as you're riding in your car. You're like, hey, how you doing? And she frowns at you like, what the fuck? Well, how does your day change in any way? Like, I don't know, bro. I feel like personally I might be having, sometimes I have the wrong way to look at things, but that's just how I look at them, and that's how I feel, and that's what y'all are watching me for, you know. And I'm very much so open-minded to y'all being in the comments like, nah, Dior, because let me break it down to you like this. This is that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? This is why it's this is why it's important, and this is how we change it. And I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna be like, okay, word. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not the die on the hill nigga, but this is how I see shit.
About how us black people feel about black people. But I do want y'all to realize something. If we look at certain black people and we say, I don't want to go over there. I'd rather not live over here by these black people. Like, I need to get away from these niggas. Like, if we say stuff like that, or people that don't talk the same language as us, because at least if I see a group of black dudes or whatever, and they doing what they doing on the corner, now I mean, I could walk by, I could say what's up, I could play a part, now I mean, and I could get up out of there. But somebody that is not a part of the culture or doesn't fit the profile, how do you think that person's gonna judge us? If we be talking about how we need to get away from niggas, how do you think other people feel about us? That is my biggest thing about black people not holding each other accountable. Because as mad as somebody wants to be about this video right here, because when you say things like, oh nah, I live in a safe neighborhood, there's white people in this neighborhood, what exactly are you saying? These are things we hear in the black community all the time, but we never really talk about why we're saying that. Is it because we subconsciously know the more niggas, the more trouble? That's a problem that we need to stop asking the police to fix.
I don't know what argument I wish there was a good counter for. The whole 1 in 3 black men are convicted felons. And the main argument against that is that black people are over-policed. And it's true. Shit's disgusting. But this opens a bigger topic. When they talk about, oh, 1 in 3 black men are felons, and y'all get up arguing. Well, that's because we're over-policed. You know what that means, right? Even if you're correct, which you are, black people are over-policed. You still got caught with a pound of weed. You still tried to rob somebody. You still tried to steal out the store. You know just as well as I know that black men and white men play by 2 different sets of rules in life. It's not fair. But we're not talking about what's fair. We're talking about what is.
I went to an all-black elementary school. School was so black, we used to sing Lift Every Voice and Sing before all our assemblies. From 1st through 4th grade, a police officer would come in. She called herself Officer Friendly, and she would talk about how the police were there to help. Then she came in 5th grade, and she was no longer officer friendly. Now she was Sergeant Lyons. Sergeant Lyons took a boy up to the front of the class and demonstrated how not to resist arrest and make sure that you were being properly Mirandized. And this is the part I remember most. When, not if, you found yourself arrested. Again, this is a classroom of 10-year-olds. No matter what color you are, boys, young boys do stupid things as they come into puberty because there's testosterone meeting in a head-on collision with a not completely developed brain. When white boys do things and find themselves crossing the line, it's boys will be boys. It's let's not ruin this young man's life. He has such a bright future. With black boys, it's we've got to make an example out of him as a warning to others. Okay, so black children whose brains are not really in a position or fully formed to create good long-term decisions are introduced to a criminal justice system that then they have a really hard time getting out of, especially when so many of their charges are escalated to felonies and when you have 15 and 16-year-olds being charged as adults. Now, this is where the cycle of poverty starts. When you have a...
Y'all see this back and forth that constantly happens? So it's like, one, you could feel this way, but there's a rebuttal for this, so then you can feel this way, there's a rebuttal for this. This is why I mean, like, this stuff isn't gonna end. This is like, just as there's a great point made on this side, there's a great point made on this side, like, it doesn't end. I don't know what to do. Nigga, I know you don't know what to do. You just have an opinion on it, like, and that's okay, and that's fine, like I keep saying. It just is what it is. I'm done with this video, man. Like the video, sub up, comment on, binge investment in channel. Y'all let me know how I feel. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if y'all right. If I'm right, tell me if what y'all are right about. You know what I'm saying? I'm going, man. It didn't let do it.